invest in a guy to be, say, a grass cutter. I'll get to Lincoln in a moment. You invest in a grass cutting business. You hire a grass cutter, and you give him a machine, and he cuts 10 lawns a day. And let's say, for the sake of arithmetic, 10 bucks a lawn. He gets 100 bucks. You have bought the machine. He brought in 100 bucks worth of business. You give him 10 for the day, and you take 10 out to pay toward another machine when this one breaks down. So you gave out 20 bucks, you've got 80. You did none of the work. You've got 80 bucks of yours. You gave 10 to the worker to do the cutting, and you've got 10 for future machine replacements. That's capitalism. That's capitalism in a very simplistic way. This is why Lincoln said that labor, that's people, labor, is prior to and independent of capital. He said labor can't exist without capital. That's we. We can exist without capital investment. But capital investment cannot exist without us. We are the source of capital investment. We are the source of capitalist products. We are the source. And Benjamin Franklin said, all social wealth, that's everything we have around that, it's been made by man, social wealth, is produced by labor, not by bags of money, not by people holding certificates saying, I own this much of this industry, but by the people who did the actual work. Social labor.
Walter, what's the foundation of your social and political knowledge?
Oh, years ago I got involved into a little college writing group, and we used to write short stories and get together and read the short stories, and then we'd criticize them and send one out that we thought was good enough for publication, and we hoped that the guy who wrote it, did the publicizing. And then I met my wife in college, and we got together, and we shared a lot of common ideas. I always had been in favor of a socialist form of society. I wasn't quite sure what it would be, how it could be. It wasn't defined in my mind, but I knew that the system we had today wasn't doing us any good by my own parents' experiences. When my wife and I married, I entered a family where her dad was a socialist. And he literally educated me into the idea of what is the difference between the word socialism and a real socialist society. In fact, in terms of how it could be constructed. In other words, an economic democracy. That's what he was talking about. And the more I learned from him, the more I pursued it. And then I even became a candidate one year for Congress based on my socialist understandings of things. At that time, it was the Socialist Labor Party. I became a candidate for Congress in the 3rd District of the state that I had been in. Of course, I didn't win, but got a lot of publicity and a lot of attention, which wasn't always the best, in that respect, because people still were under the onus or the responsibility of corporate understandings of what socialism is. So my ascendancy from where I was to where I am today in understanding our society has many stages, a lot of reading, a lot of experiences, a lot of talking to people. So I feel pretty good about what I understand is happening in our society. I see people who feel very down in the dumps because they feel they're failures in this system because they don't have a job or there's something else failed. And I always point out to them, it's not your failure. It's the way the system works. They don't need everybody in society. They only need the people who can provide for them a profit. And the less people they have working for them to provide a profit, the less, that's the way they want it. They don't care about who's employed or unemployed. They just care about their own. I can compare this also to the corporations today where most people understand what outsourcing is, the sending away of or hiring people in Indonesia to do the work that people in Chicago could do. And this is one of the the outcomes of understanding the society and knowing that what's happening today isn't necessarily a reflection on the abilities of people who are here jobless. It's not their joblessness that has gotten them into this crunch, it's the system itself. So my what do you call it, my journey from knowing very little to knowing what I do today is based upon the factors that I met the right people at the right times, and I was fortunate enough to know enough about what they were talking about to be able to talk to you here today. How is that, Don? Was that okay?